Hello, my friends. This is Andy coming to you live from Orange County, California. It's March 10th at 6:30 p.m. and got a full show tonight. The only thing I want to tell you before we get started is I want you to go to patriotcoms.org. Those of you that want to continue following me, you never know when I'm going to be banned, taken off any one of the social media platforms or all of the social media platforms. As a matter of fact, that could happen tonight. So I have a lot of ground to cover. I have a lot of people to call out and let you know what my experience was at the Placentia Yorba Linda School District's school board meeting that I attended last night. Now, I've been talking about this for the last several months, that the best way to bring our country back to the Constitution that our forefathers intended this country to run under is to get involved in local politics, including and starting with school boards, and then your Chamber of Commerce and even your city council and your mayors and state representatives, and then grow out from there. But the school board is one of those things that I am learning has our school districts and our school board and our local teachers union. I was not prepared for what I am seeing that is involved in these organizations and what's happening. So I'm going to be going over a few things here and just kind of give you an outline of how we're going to do this. I'm going to be talking about the meeting last night and the things I experienced in regard to the public forum that it started with. And I went up there and spoke. I had to change my speech a little bit because they shortened it down to a minute. And then I got harassed about my mask and some other stuff was going on in the audience. And it was very interesting, by the way. And so I had to kind of alter it a little bit. I'm going to read at my actual speech that I had written down so that you kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from as a parent in this school district. I will then mention a couple of the other parents that spoke. We will be looking at some of the things that are occurring with one of the school board members that I think is a really important issue that we need to be looking at. And then we'll be looking at the APLE, which is the Association of Placentia Linda Educators, a teachers union, which is completely stonewalling the opening of our schools. And to say the least, I'm going to say, to say the least, there's probably a lot more going on. There is so much that I will not be able to get to tonight because I'm getting stuff just before I came on. I'm getting stuff emailed to me. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting videos sent to me. I'm getting children in our schools that have been doing some undercover work, and they've been sending me stuff. And so you wouldn't believe what is going on in our schools. I have to say, before I even get started, that I believe that our school district and our schools are probably some of the best in the country. I can't imagine what schools are going through in LA and what, in some of the more liberal and Democratic run communities. I cannot imagine what's happening in those schools, because what's happening here in what I believe to be one of the better situations is kind of crazy. We got some really bizarre people that are in positions of power, that are teachers, that are, and that's not to say they don't have a couple kooky parents, because we do. We had a guy that came up with underwear on his face for his mask, which was interesting. I think he was trying to make a point. I think his point was probably made, but we have a lot of stuff going on. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this and just go to patriotcoms.org. If it doesn't work by just going there, go to put the W's in, the 3 W's, and then patriotcoms.org and see if that will allow you to give your email address and your name. That way I can tell you where we're going to be once social media decides that I can't exist any longer. Because again, that's more than likely to occur. Let's see who's on. We got Sharon Marie. I was there last night. Wow, is right. No kidding. Scott Anderson. Oops, sorry, clicked on the wrong one. Wrong order. Scott Anderson says APLE sucks. All right, I'm right there with you. And Geneva says that was so wrong. What happened with them telling you to wear a mask when others didn't before you and others after you? It was very bizarre. So I'll get to that in 1 second. So let me go ahead and get to my agenda here. I wrote out my agenda because there's so much to get to. I didn't want to get too off. I have this tendency to chase squirrels once in a while. And so if I put it into an agenda like this one, then I will be more likely to follow it. So last night, March 9th, the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District School Board Meeting was in session. For the first time I went, I tried to go I wanted to go to the other one, the previous one, but because of my schedule, I couldn't make it. But I'm glad that I made it to last night. We had a huge crowd. I was fortunately a great fine couple gave up their seats so I can actually be inside the forum. So I want to thank Karen Foley for making that happen. I was able to sit down, and I want to thank those parents. I don't think that I had a chance to thank them enough, because when I sat down, there were a couple of people that approached me right away telling me that they watched this particular show and some other stuff that I do. And so I quickly got distracted. So I'm not sure if I really sincerely wanted to thank those people that got up and gave their seat up. But last night, it was a full house. What is interesting is that you can tell that this is a farce. The whole pandemic, the whole masking, the whole social distancing is a complete farce, because outside people are unmasked talking to each other. Then they come into this hallway and they're all kind of packed in. They're all standing next to each other. And, but inside, all of a sudden, it goes into this weird zone. So suddenly when you cross these doors, now you have to be socially distanced, and they have people in there going, you have to go out in the hallway and get into the crowd, but you can't be in here because there might be some cameras and you need to be social distance. And yet the APLE, the teachers union, they all sat together at a little table. They had 4 or 5 people all sitting right now, not 6 feet apart, mind you, all very closely together. So, it's meant for everybody else. All the lower class people, the parents, had to sit 6 feet apart. And a couple other people that were in the audience, some other dips were in the audience, had to sit 6 feet apart and masked. But the APLE people, no, they could all sit together. That was okay. All right. So, and I'm going to try to stay focused. I'm getting on these little rants already. I can feel it coming. But that's when I first realized how ridiculous this whole thing is. I mean, in regard to the theatrics that has to be put on to justify the shutting down of the schools. Because it doesn't, in the hallway, it doesn't exist, the pandemic apparently. But in the school board area, it was, because it has to, right? It has to give the appearance of existing. But the union, who's most afraid about this whole thing, they're all sitting together. And they had some pre-existing conditions, because I could see them. There's a couple of them that had pre-existing conditions, and they weren't social distancing. And so I just want to make sure and call that out, that this is a farce. Right off the bat, this is a farce. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that is very clear. All right. So we started off right off the bat, and I see comments that are popping up there. I'll get to them. If I start reading all the comments, I'm not going to get to all the agenda, and this show is going to be much longer than I want it to be. So we had the public forum, which was fantastic. I got to tell you, we have some great parents out there that have a great way of speaking about what is going on. And I'll get into a little bit more of some of my favorites from last night. But there were so many good ones. And if I don't call you out, if you're watching and you went up and spoke and I don't say that you were fantastic, I'm sorry. But there were so many that were fantastic. I had to narrow it down to a couple to speak up about, because there was a woman, a mother, that came up and said, talked about, and had her computer and said, you want to see what's happening on these Zoom calls? They're not on these Zoom calls just on the Zoom. They are searching for ways to commit suicide. They're looking at videos about twerking. They're looking at videos about other shenanigans that they shouldn't be looking at. And you teacher, I'm not your teachers, and I'm sorry, but you that are promoting that this needs to continue, this farce needs to continue, you think they're actually learning, and you think they're actually on Zoom. No, they are on the Zoom, but what you can't see is what they're actually doing, and that is searching for ways to commit suicide, which this one parent was able to bring up. So but the public forums that came up, I just want to compliment the parents that came up there, some with props, some with pictures, some with signs, some with underwear on their face. Very interesting. And there was that. All right, let me just go ahead and look at the comments here really quickly. I want to see if there's any haters on there yet, because I love the haters. They're actually my favorite. Hey, Hetty, my love, thanks for joining. Thank you for coming out and speaking in support. You're welcome. I don't blame it. I don't blame it though, not to go on a yeah, so hard. Is 1,000% is the unions. Oh, Karen has a long one there. I'll try to get to you, Karen. Yes. Okay. I see that. It was very telling. A handful of APL reps talking about how great. Yep. Okay, let me just put that up. So I was there also, Karen, and she's the one who helped me find a seat inside the auditorium there. The entire thing was very telling. A handful of APL reps talking about how great things are going with their students and how awful Leandra because she went to the rally. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Then the people spoke. Parents, grandparents. The grandparent was amazing. Students, teachers, Hispanic parents with interpreters. They called the unions out and supported Leandra. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to get to all that, by the way. All right. So let me get to my, let me go ahead and get to my speech. And I'm not doing this for any other reason, just to kind of give you my perspective and where I came from. And again, I didn't have an opportunity because there were so many. I went like, I don't know what it was, 15th, 20th. I don't even remember. I was called the Alex Jones of social media. Apparently, that was one of the guys that went up there and mentioned that Leandra goes on this Alex Jones show. And apparently, I'm pretty sure that was me because I don't know how many other shows she goes on. And so by the time I got up there, so many parents had said some of the stuff I was going to say. I didn't want to repeat because they only gave us a minute because there were so many people there to speak. So let me just go through my speech here again, just to give you the perspective. And so that you know where I'm coming from and who I am and why I have any say in what is going on in our schools. All right. First of all, this is the beginning of my speech. First of all, Leandra Blades is the best thing that could have happened to this school board. As far as I can tell, she is the only one truly fighting for what is best for our kids and our teachers. So I want to thank you, Leandra. My children and I appreciate you. I am a father of 6 with 5 children who still are and will be attending schools in the district: Golden Elementary, Tuffrey Junior High, and next year, El Dorado High School. My children and every child in the school district need schools to open up completely and open up yesterday. Sports need to be back fully, and the masking of these children needs to stop. I am lucky that the church we attend, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, has been open and serving thousands since May of 2020. No masks, no social distancing, and several thousand people attend services on Sundays and Wednesdays. Thankfully, my kids have been attending this children's services in their age group and have had the ability to socialize, play games with no restrictions. Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, I am sure, has saved them and other children from depression, anxiety, and in some cases, suicide. Not all kids are this lucky. Some have been stuck at home for a year. As of March 3rd, and although horrible, it is believed that 13 children in our state of California, of over 9 million children, have died from illnesses related to COVID over the last year. That is an extremely small number. Tragic, yes, but a small number compared to the 9 million who are suffering every day. Also remember that most children with many of the underlying conditions that caused those 13 deaths would probably not be attending school anyway. I am a retired police officer from Anaheim Police Department, and I was a detective in family crimes and a sex crimes detective. In my research into this pandemic, youth suicides and attempted suicides have spiked, far surpassing the numbers of COVID deaths in this age group. Add to this number of child abuse cases that are now going unreported, since teachers are one of the primary reporters of this type of crime. Obviously, what is best for the children is that schools should open completely and open now. They should have never been shut down to begin with. The part-time schedule is not good enough, and sports need to come back too. Now, I know another argument against opening is for the safety of the teachers and their loved ones. That is the other excuse. But that may be even more ridiculous. First of all, the science says that children are less likely to get it and less likely to spread it. If a teacher has one or more of the pre-existing conditions, then he or she can stay home and do Zooms with those kids that are not attending. But part-time teaching is not working. Police, firefighters, cashiers, marijuana dispensary workers, and strip club workers are essential, and they work full-time. So can teachers. After all, they are obviously not that concerned because I see many of them at the stores and gyms in our community. And I see on their social media, they are happily on vacation, unmasked on the weekends, spending time unmasked with their neighbors, family, and friends on a daily basis. It is beyond ridiculous that schools are closed or even just partially open. Our children are suffering every day. Every day this continues. The damage being done is on you who choose to continue with this farce. And most of the blame right now sits square on the shoulders of the APLE and other teachers' unions. Thank you. So that was my speech last night. Wasn't able to give that because I only had a minute, and other people had spoke much about that stuff already. And so what I want to talk about now is how I know the school board member, Leandra Blades. I want to make this very clear because I've heard, and I've gotten a couple messages here. It's like, well, you're just a friend of hers. That's why you're supported. I don't know Leandra Blades. I didn't know Leandra Blades before before she started running for the school board. The reason I support Leandra Blades and the reason I still support her is because as a person who was running for a position, she was telling me what her positions were. She was sharing with me what she was hoping to do once she became a school board member, if she were lucky enough to be elected. And with that, I supported her. Everything that she had to say, I agreed with. There was not any aspect of her policies and the things that she was going to present that I thought that were going to be detriment to our children or the teachers. I thought they were going to be an asset to our children and to our teachers. And so that is when I began to get to know Leandra. I interviewed her at a rally. I began to interview her on my show and supported her completely. Oh my gosh, who are the other ones? Sean Youngblood and Marilyn Anderson. I met during that period of time and I supported them too. I would hope that they would speak out and be as aggressive as Leandra. I think right now Leandra is outshining the three of them, and would hope that the other two that I supported would also begin to support her and not be so much in the shadows. I think they're fine people. I just think that they're have not spoken out and are not willing to do it. They may have, I may be missing it, and so if I'm wrong, please let me know that they are doing so. But Leandra Blades I support her 100%. She's the only one that's speaking out. She's the only one that's exposing the problems with our school district, with our school board, with the APLE, with just simply what's going on in our schools. She's the only one that's exposing it. And she's bringing the crowd that's there is to thanks to Leandra Blades. I don't think it's to thank anybody else. She's really the only one that is doing this. So I want to make sure that this is very clear. I was not a friend of Leandra Blades before any of this began to happen. I am a supporter of Leandra Blades. I have become friendly with her because I just agree with everything that she's doing. And I disagree with the slanderous crap that is happening to her personally and in social media and within the school district. There are a number of people that that work in the school district, work at the schools, that are simply harassing her and slandering her and using students to slander her and harass her. One of those people is Susan Metcalf. She's a teacher at Yorba Linda High School, and she has been slandering Leandra for a very long period of time. I played a recording of a student contacting her over the phone, and they recorded that message, and they had a discussion how Susan needed her to help her slander Leandra, to find stuff on her, to find something that they could use against her. This Susan Metcalf was also running for school board, and she simply was a loser. She was the loser, and so she's pissed that she's a loser. But to be able to be a teacher in our school still, and she's not been fired yet. She's not been, I don't know if she's been investigated yet. I don't know what they're doing. But last night, one of the things I want to make sure and do is I want to make sure and put the school board on notice. I know the superintendent was there, and I said, I'm requesting, much like probably many of the other parents there, something to be done about a teacher that is using her position to contact students to slander a school board member. I don't care if they were doing it to Karen Freeman, Carrie Buck. I don't care. A teacher should not be there teaching where she should be teaching her kids, encouraging students to help her slander a school board member or anybody in the school district. That is not her role. Her role is to teach our children. You got somebody now by the name of Misty Jansen, a parent harassing Leandra Blades on a regular basis and pushing a BLM curriculum. And she also is somebody that is teamed up with Susan, and Susan and her have teamed up on several occasions, from what I understand. Again, I'm getting so much information from so many different people, and proof of what I'm telling you that this needs to be looked into. This Misty Jansen, again, I don't know what her her beef is, but apparently she just doesn't like Leandra. She doesn't possibly like her politics. I don't know. But this is another woman that needs to be looked at, and maybe some sanctions, something that the district needs to step in and tell her what her role is as a parent. Is her role as a parent in her school district, is it to harass a school board member? At what point does this become criminal? At what point does the school district begin to protect some of these school board members who are being attacked? I think they do have a role in protecting the school board members. When somebody's being slandered, when somebody's being just obviously slandering, lying, go hand in hand. But when this is occurring on a regular basis, what role does the school district have in protecting these school board members who are there to do a job? And they're not being allowed to do their job because of somebody like Susan and Misty and the next person, Brianne, I think her name is Moreno, who is a BLM activist harassing and slandering Leandra. Also, we've seen her at some of the rallies causing problems. She, I don't want to slander her by saying something that's true, but I'm just going to let you know that what I've seen of her, because I've been to the winter rallies where she had caused some grief to some people over there. She is not somebody that can be trusted either, and needs to also be looked at. So between Susan and Misty and Brianna, I just want to make sure that people understand that these three are causing harm, I believe, to Leandra. She's a very strong woman. She's very outspoken. She's very positive. But I know, and I've had people do similar things to me, that this takes a toll on her and her family. She may not say it out loud. She may not want to do anything about it. She may not say anything about it. But anybody else, any of the whiners on the other side of this topic would be whining immediately. If you happen to look at them, they would act like they got shot with a gun. Leandra is literally on a daily basis being harassed and slandered, and she's strong enough and brave enough to say, I'm just going to keep on pushing on. But I'm going to speak out and say that the school district has a duty to protect Leandra Blades. And as far as I can tell right now, they're not doing it. And that something needs to happen. All right. So with that said, I want to make sure that this is clear, because the only people that are saying this right now is the Placentia. Oh my gosh, the PLE, the APLE, sorry, the Association of Placentia Yorba Linda Educators. Oh my gosh, that is a silly name. They just had to find a way to make APLE. So Association Placentia Linda Educators. Sorry, I can't remember your name. But the only ones that are saying the teachers are lazy are them. The only people that got up and mentioned anything about the teachers being lazy is anybody that was representing the APLE. They were the only ones. Leandra has never said that. Karen has never said that. Carrie has never said that. I'm talking about the school board members. Sean has never said it. And if I missed anybody, Marilyn has never said it. I've never said it. I don't think any of the parents last night said it. As a matter of fact, I will tell you that the teachers that my children have are amazing and spectacular. What they are trying to do with this, again, this farce that is being pushed upon them, they are doing incredible work. And I would say most of the teachers are. I just named one who's not, and that's Susan Medcoff. She may be a great teacher, but she's also horrendous in what she's doing to Leandra. But many of the teachers are doing an incredible job under these really crappy circumstances. The only people saying, and I just want to repeat this and make this loud and clear. The only people that are saying that the teachers are lazy is the Association of Placentia Linda Educators. They are the only ones. Not one single parent said that teachers are being lazy. As a matter of fact, I believe every teacher, every parent that got up and spoke yesterday praised the teachers. So APLE, shut your trap. Nobody is saying the teachers are lazy. No one. You are propagating something that is simply not true and putting it out there, hoping that people will believe you. It is simply not true. Nobody is saying that. Last night, when I mentioned, because I changed my speech, I mentioned that I know 4 families in the Orange County area. 3 of them are law enforcement people that I work with well, I'm not going to say. I don't want to. They're very private people, and I know that they don't necessarily want people to know what went on with their family. But I am telling you that I know 4 families that in the Orange County area that have children who have committed suicide within this last year. All of the school age. When I said that, there was a teacher that laughed out loud. I heard her laugh. I just couldn't identify who it was. But when I got back to my seat and I got a couple text messages saying it's the teacher that's sitting behind you, and her name is Christy Perez. Christy Perez is a teacher at Bernardo Yorba Linda Middle School. And Christine, if you're watching, Christine, if you're watching, I don't know what you find funny about our children committing suicide. You being a teacher at one of our schools, laughing at children committing suicide, thinking it's funny, you too need to be investigated. You knew, and I'm demanding the district look at Christina Perez at why she thinks suicide, children committing suicide during this pandemic, during this period of time, is funny. It is not funny. It is so funny that you decided that you should laugh out loud and disrupt my opportunity to speak publicly about what my concerns are about my children, what's happening in our schools. You thought it was funny. The funniest thing that I said was that children are committing suicide. And then I have 4 families that I know that have lost a child during this period of time. I find that ridiculous. I find that you need to be sanctioned. You probably should be investigated. And I don't know how it is that any teacher, any parent can trust you with their children if you think that suicide is funny. If you think it is, maybe you can send me a message and tell me why you think it's so funny. Because I think it's abhorrent. I think that the blood, again, of these children is on the hands of people that are continuing this farce. And Christine Perez, you thinking it's so funny, I just adds to my desire to be more involved. If you were looking and hoping that you were going to intimidate me with your laughter at suicide, just much like what Misty and Brianna and Susan think they're going to do to Leandra, it just does the opposite. And I'm calling you out, and I'm hoping parents hearing about this teacher laughing at suicide of children that during this pandemic is funny will also be and feel as strongly about it as I did. But I thought that was totally ridiculous. There was a Spanish-speaking parent. Oh, mic drop moment. She was amazing. She called out the APLE and everybody who is, again, encouraging this farce to continue. And she did a spectacular job. If you have a chance to look at the replay of the live broadcast I did last night, I would search for it. It's, she was towards the end of the public speakers, probably 4 or 5 to the end. Her children, I think, came up and spoke after her. She was spectacular. She called out everything similar to what I said in my speech. She talked about seeing these teachers. And again, we're only calling out the teachers and the union members that are claiming that this pandemic is so dangerous that they can't go to school, and yet they are seen out in public with no masks. They're seen out at the parks. They're seen at the grocery store. They're seen at the gym. They're seen doing other stuff. If you can do that, then you can be teaching our kids. And she very clearly laid out. She had much longer to speak. And so if you didn't get to see that last night, she was amazing. I see so many comments, and I'm so sorry I'm not going to them, but I will go to them in 1 second. I just want to hit this one thing first, and then I'm going to get to a little bit more of a wonky part of this discussion in regard to the APLE and some of the other stuff that I saw. But let me get to this one last one. There was another parent, and if anybody knows who this parent is, she may have already commented, but did a spectacular job pointing out this some unapproved BLM curriculum and propaganda that was placed on a Kramer High School website, and I'll show you some pictures of that right now, because maybe you were not able to see these pictures. But as a retired police officer, former police officer, knowing that my children who know their father was a police officer, seeing some of this crap. Again, I'm sorry. I'm trying to use better words than just than stronger cuss words. But this is crap. That during this period of time, do you think that this is okay to put on the Kramer High School website, to serve and protect with a police officer with a gun, and then the tombstones of the violent criminals that were shot in the act of arresting them? That these are criminals that were committing crimes when they were killed. There's no context put into this. It clearly is meant to tell children and to say that the police are bad, that they are systemically racist, which every study that's been shows that police are not systemically racist. As a matter of fact, they are some of the least racist people that we have serving our country. But yet you put this on a high school website. This was allowed to happen. This is just one of the pictures. Let's take a look at another one. This is one of the other ones. This is a picture of BLM protesters saying stop police brutality, and then it shows police officers spraying them with pepper spray, OC spray, whatever it is that they're depicting there. And again, it has them holding signs of Black Lives Matter and aggressive cops spraying them. This was not taken off of anything that is realistic, because it shows these people peacefully sitting down doing nothing, even though in the background they have a little bit of looting going on. But again, this was put on a Kramer High School website, as far as I understand. The principal there is Mike Young. Mike Young apparently thinks it's okay. He thinks it's okay for Black Lives Matter propaganda, propaganda against law enforcement. I can't tell you how many police officers have children that go to the school. They're currently police officers or retired police officers like myself, that our children are being taught the police are bad. Through this type of garbage that's being put on this website. It is utterly ridiculous. This is all stuff, just everything that I've talked about just happened last night. All right. Do you see what's happening in these schools? And again, I'm afraid to tell you that this is one of the better school districts, one of the better school systems, I think. Can you imagine what's happening in some of these other school districts? And like I said, again, LA, Minneapolis, Chicago, New York, Baltimore. Can you imagine what's going on in those schools? I can't imagine what's going on in those schools. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. I need to get a drink of water. I'm getting all worked up here. Wow, splashed me in the eye. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. Let me see if I can pick out a couple to point out here. Woo! Wow, I'm so sorry. There's so many here. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I know some of these comments came when I was speaking, so I'm not sure. There's 100% Leandra, who we need that seat. Absolutely. One of my neighbors asking if I got hockey pass as a sport. No, I didn't get to that. Thank God for Leandra. I'm thankful for her speaking up about the issues. If it wasn't for her speaking up, speakers would have been limited to 1 minute last night to speak. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I think we got 2 minutes. Thanks to Leandra's comments were allowed twice the time. Yeah, thank you. Yep. Again, she fights for the people. Absolutely. All right. Enough about Leandra. I got a disgusting. Yeah, so much of what was happening last night, so much of what people were talking about last night. It was just stinking disgusting. Time to get Susan out. I agree. Susan, the teacher. We got Karen Freeman on the school board. I guess she's the head school board member. I'm not sure what you call her, manager, whatever you call her. She's been there, it looks like, since 1989. Now, I'm not sure if she took a break and came back or not, but 1989. She looks a little tired to me. I think it's time to get Freeman out. We need some fresh blood. We need to move probably a Leandra into that lead position, and then get some new people in there. Carrie Buck, been there since 2010. Again, it just seems like they're just so willing to go to these meetings and then listen to everybody, and then they go back to their way. Nothing's done. As far as I can see, it's BS. All right, everybody talks, everybody does. Well, yeah, we need to do better. We need to be better. We need to do it, but yet nothing's done. And I think that the person that's in there shaking things up is the people they hate the most, which is Leandra Blaze. Calling out the stuff, showing people what needs to be done, and they're going, oh shit, we may have to do something. We got somebody that's actually pointing this stuff out. People are starting to look into our shenanigans. We can't keep this up much longer. Missy Jensen needs to go, or is a bully. I'm sorry. I saw the other one that the teacher needs to go. Misty also lost to Leandra in the election. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for pointing that out. Again, there's so much information coming my way, and I know Karen and Leandra get tired of me kind of, okay, who is this player? Or I go to other people, even students, and because they'll come with me and everything. I go, okay, explain to me who this person is. When I sat down in my seat, I had parents coming up and saying, hey, this person here and this person here. And I go, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with all this stuff. Let's see. People talking. Let me go back down to the middle. And you need to run for school board. Oh my gosh, I'll do that in my spare time. So much going on, and I thought about it for a second, but I got a lot going on. Maybe when things settle down, I might be able to do that. I'm going to have kids in for a while. My youngest is 7. I have a 7-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, 2 13-year-olds actually, and the 14-year-old, and then my 26-year-old. She attended all the schools that my younger ones are going through right now. That picture is horrible. Absolutely. It is really just crazy. And let me get one more before I go back to my agenda. I asked about this and was told they had no idea. Never want to blame anyone. Geneva, thank you. Yeah, that is the thing. Nobody's taking responsibility. How many parents, and I'm going to get to this right now, and that is nobody that is taking responsibility. So many parents got up and said, well, who makes the decision? And Hetty and I is an attorney, and I've had her read some of the documents. And so as an attorney, I said, I need you to put your attorney hat on, and I need you to look through this and help me with this stuff. And so we've been going through the contracts, the MOUs, and other documents. Well, I did, and then Hetty has been doing a lot more than I have. But what we're seeing is that they just put up so much crap. And I'm sorry, that is my word for the night, but this is all crap. All of it's crap. They put up so much crap that nobody can figure it out, right? Because the parents are going, who's making these decisions? Is it the county health department? Is it the state health department? Is it the governor? Is it the school district? Is it the APLE? Is it Joe Schmo that we don't know about? Who's pulling the cords here? Who are we supposed to get in contact with? And so I'm just going to share a couple things that I began to look into as I went forward in just a few minutes. So let me get back to my agenda here so I don't get too far off track. One of the speakers, her name is, I had to write down all these names. I told you I'm not great with names. I'm horrible. What did I do with her? Linda Adamson. Linda Adamson did a presentation, and it may have been hard to see on my broadcast because I couldn't zoom in, but it talked about the F's. You got the A, B, C, D, F. The F's have been increasing, obviously, since the pandemic. And she talked about kids that they believe to be homeless, kids that are English is their second language, foster kids, and all that kind of stuff. And so, but the F's are obviously increasing. Now, all of it actually was a pretty good idea that this farce is failing and that we need to stop it. All right. So that was pretty good. The problem I had was what I hear so darn often in so many situations. As a police officer, this has happened. And in our schools, we hear it happening in schools across the country where they're saying, well, if things are so tough for the kids, we're just going to make it easier. And one of the things I heard, and I don't know exact wording she said, is that, well, they changed the grading to reduce the F's. So instead of 70, I'm throwing a number. I'm just throwing out something, just kind of giving you an idea. Say from if you 70% or less, you got an F. What they did is that essentially what I heard her say is they said, well, we'll change it to 60% of the left. That way, if you're in that 70% to 60, you're now going to get a D. And so now what they've essentially done, look at how good we're doing. We have way less F's and we fixed the problem is essentially what I heard. Now, she didn't come out and say it that way. What she said is that, well, the kids that got the D's now feel better about themselves. Bullshit. That is such horse crap. I don't even know what to tell you. Again, I am sorry. I should have put my disclaimer that I'm going to cuss here, but that is such horse crap. It happened in the academy when they began bringing people in that shouldn't have been selected as patrol officers or police officers, as cadets, as potential police officers, where they go, well, you know what? Since we're hiring less capable people, we have to reduce the things that they have to do in order to make it through the academy. So we have to make the scoring for grades different. The spelling test can't be so hard. We're just going to go to 2-letter words instead of 4-letter words. The physical fitness has to be reduced. We have to change the wall from 6 feet to 4 feet, like that happens on the street when you're chasing a bad guy. All of this is bad. It's bad. And when I heard her say that, that really, I was right with her until she said that. And so we got to really pay attention to that as parents. And if my child is getting Fs, I want to know they're getting Fs. I want to know that they're failing. I want to know that they need to have a tutor. I need to know that they need special help. I need to know. Don't reduce the grading so that it gives me the impression my son's now getting a B when before he was getting an F, or my daughter. It is clearly just a way of making the adults look better, right? The people in charge want to look better. We don't want to show that people are failing. So the way that we fix that and show that we're doing our job, but not really doing our job, is by changing the grading system. And that'll make us look way better. Not that it'll help the kids with their self-esteem, which is complete bullshit. And the kids don't fall for it, you idiots. All right. Sorry, I'm getting all heated again. So what was the blame for stopping the schools from fully opening? Well, we don't know. We know that the APLE it looks like the association, which is the right now it looks like the Association of Placentia Linda Educators, APLE, teachers unions are evil. We are learning that across the board, across the United States, the teachers unions are horrible. Again, if you would have been there, you had no trouble identifying the members of the APLE, no matter what they were wearing. They happened to wear the matching shirts, and they were all sitting together, and they all said, our kids are doing great. I don't know what's wrong with you parents. And that's essentially what they said when they got up there and spoke. Our kids are doing great because we are fantastic. We're APLE members and we are doing fantastic. You parents suck. And you need to stop calling us lazy. And you need to stop calling us names. And you need to look at yourselves. Wrong. You guys are the problem, because what you're doing is you're stonewalling any progress towards opening. And that's what I've learned through my research today. Now, they may not be the final decision makers. They may not be the final decision maker, but it is one hurdle that if we could get them to come to the table and negotiate, that we could now be all on the same board. Same place, all in the same place. School board and everything else is getting mixed up. That we can all be on the same place, the same position of getting our kids back to school. What they're doing is fighting to keeping the schools closed. The parents are fighting to get the schools open. At least a few of us. There were a couple parents there that were a little nutty and a little fearful. They left early. They did their speech and they ran out as if they went stomping their feet like little crybabies, and probably went to a restaurant where they went unmasked. But the rest of us, who common sense parents who want our kids to succeed, are for the schools opening. And I think many of the school board members are. I don't know all of them. I know at least 3 of them are probably for opening the schools. And then you had the APLE. No, we can't. It's dangerous because our kids are doing great on Zooms. Oh, you can just eat it because our kids are doing well. The APLE is one of the hurdles that is not allowing us to get the message out that these schools need to open. They have been asked to renegotiate their contract and their MOU, and they've gone silent and they refuse to meet. That is what I've learned through my research, and that needs to change. They need to be called out for the piece of craps they are, because who knows? I mean, we can't figure this out. I have asked, what is the purpose? What is the reason? Why are unions? Now, I've gotten a bunch of answers, but I really can't quite put my finger on what it is completely. Does it have to do with money? Does it have to do with simply, hey, we can do the same job and not have to report to an office or whatever? I don't know what it is. Who knows what it is with the school unions? They are just demonic, horrible, nasty, unhealthy people. As far as I saw, the people I saw look very unhealthy. No wonder they're afraid to go back to school. They can stay home. They actually could stay in their office. They don't have to go anywhere. Mask up with your 2 masks. Stay in your office. Don't bother coming us and don't bother us at school. You stay in your little place and leave us alone. But go to the negotiating table, look at that MOU and that contract, and let's get started getting these schools open. So I'm going to share with you. Sorry, I've lost my place. I got on a rant there. All right, so here, I think I skipped ahead. APLE and PYLUSD claim one of the issues is MOU and the contract. So let me go ahead and bring that up. This is going to be my last little bit here. And let me get rid of this. And so in this MOU, which I have brought up here, I read through the whole thing, and it talks about the curriculum and the, oh my gosh, I'm losing the words, physical distancing, the hybrid, that's the word, the hybrid school and the Zooming and all that kind of stuff. That's what this all talks about. It's the MOU, which of course is kind of what we would call an addendum to the main contract. So as you have a contract that lasts like 2017 to 2021 or something like that. It's a long distance, and stuff happens that needs to be put in an MOU to make some adjustments, because who knew a pandemic was going to come? And so clearly we need to do some stuff. Now, I was willing to do that for a couple weeks, but not for a year. But here we are a year later. And the MOU, like I said, is written mostly about that. But then we have this last part under 5. Or V, but it's 5, right? Roman numeral 5. And I'm gonna zoom in on this with a graphic here. Let me go ahead and bring this down. And I'll bring up the graphic, and what it says is that this MOU shall remain in effect during all periods that the district is providing instruction by distance learning, or, and I underlined it and made it big. It's not like that on the MOU, but I did it so that you can see it, or upon an order from the state or district being the Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District, or district that requires all employees to return to work in a traditional school and work schedule. So I read that because it's very clear, I think. It says, and I'm going to read it just one more time, this MOU shall remain in effect during all periods that the district is providing instruction by distance learning, or upon an order from the state or district that requires all employees to return to work in a traditional school and work schedule. So why isn't, and why hasn't the school district said, okay, based on the science, I'll bring up this thing, on the science, over the last couple months, you can see that the COVID infections of 18 years and under in Orange County has gone from 546 in January all the way down to 20. That is in a population of 18 and under of 651,038 children. Only 20 are infected. That's not 20 dying. That is 20 infected. 20 infected as of February 27th. 20 infected. That doesn't mean they're even sick. Only 20. I'm repeating it. Out of 651,000 or more children. Why are we still closed? Why hasn't the district said, this is ridiculous? We are harming children. Children are committing suicide. Children are having trouble with anxiety. Children are having trouble with their social skills. Children are getting fat because they're not exercising. There's so many reasons why we need to open these schools, and they're not opening because 20 kids got infected last month or last week. It's just last week. Out of the 650 something thousand children that are in this county, you're closing it down for 20 kids that are infected and they're not even sick. Even if they, God forbid, I hope nothing bad, that they were so sick that they ended up in the hospital. It's still not enough to harm the rest of us. It's not just affecting our kids, it's affecting the parents. I was a single dad until recently, but I've been a single dad most of this year, and I've lost most of my work. And you're expecting me to do schooling for 4 children while I'm looking for work, while I'm trying to do things on my computer. I'm so lucky that because I lost work, I'm at home, and so I can kind of point them out and make sure and get on your Zoom, make sure and do that thing. I'm not doing a great job. I'm telling you, I'm not a great elementary school or junior high school teacher. I'm not built for that. I'm not made for that. But you're telling parents that also are still at work full time to do the same thing. So it's not just the children. It's the parents that are going through anxiety. It's the parents that are hurting, in addition to what's going on, all for 20 kids now that simply have come back positive with COVID-19. And we have that provision in the MOU that says school district can order everybody back to school. Now, listen, I understand. I've been told that, we can't do that because the contract that's in place, they could sue the school district for doing that. Well, why does the MOU say they can do it? What? So I looked at the contract, and you can look at the contract too. I don't find anything in there, any verbiage, and I'm not an attorney. I'm not a doctor, and I've looked at the entire thing, but I've looked at a lot of contracts. I've written a lot of contracts over the years. I've had 5 or 6 businesses, including security businesses for Comic-Con and for Stagecoach, and these are pretty extensive contracts. And I've read a few contracts. I don't see anything in there that says that they can't enforce the MOU, and if they try to enforce the MOU, that they can be sued. I don't see that. Last thing in regard to this, I know that there's probably somebody else that needs to be involved, whether it's the Orange County Health Department. But if we went as parents, if we went as teachers, if we went as the school district, if we went as the teachers union, arm in arm, saying, we've had enough of this crap, we need to open these schools, and we went to the next person in charge to get them in our arms, our schools could open. They should have opened yesterday. But it's because of all of these barriers, all of this bullshit that we're going through, that nobody knows what the left hand's doing. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. Nobody knows where to look for the answer. Nobody knows what to do, and they're blaming everybody else. We will never get there. Kids will continue to die. Children will continue to be sick. Children will continue to have disorders that are brought upon this stupidity of being locked down in their homes. All because of what? Because the school union wants to have power. The school union believes that, well, we are in charge here. You can't do anything without us. So we're just going to say no and not show up. You guys are full of crap. You are the ones who are stonewalling this entire thing. Come to the table, negotiate with the district and the teachers that want to go back to work, not the dimwits like Susan Metcalf and what's the other chick's name? Christine Perez, not those idiots. You can leave them out of the negotiation, but everybody else that has common sense and that can think need to come to the table. And this is what I learned from attending a Placentia Yorba Linda School District meeting of the school board, and what I've learned since then. Again, there is so much other stuff, and I can show you my notes. I got this. This is just one of the pages. These are names of people that are involved. The next page is all the points that I learned from last night. And then I have another page of references that I need to look up and people I need to contact. I've got business cards handed to me last night. I had people coming up to me and saying, hey, could you get a hold of me? Let's make a connection. I got bigger organizations of platforms that are bigger than mine, such as Turning Point, who contacted me last night. And so I'm ready to rock and roll. When you have people like Christine Perez, a teacher at Bernardo Yorba Linda Middle School, laughing at suicides, and you got people like Susan Metcalf and Misty Jansen and Brianna Moreno thinking that they're going to terrorize us to the point that we're going to go away, you've come to the wrong place. Myself and Leandra, and hopefully a large number of other, Karen and so many other people I met. And I'm sorry, I don't want to try to take a chance of naming people, and we need to add to that list. We need to have so many people at the next school board meeting that it's ridiculous. This cannot end today. We need to continue this. The first second of tomorrow, as soon as the rooster crows tomorrow. I was looking for an analogy that I could use, but at the crow of the rooster tomorrow morning, you're back at it, and you're emailing the principals at your school. You're emailing the supervisor, what's his name at the school district, James Elasser, Placentia Yorba Linda School District Superintendent, Dr. James Elasser. Email him. Open the schools, demand the schools open, demand that the Placentia, the Association of Placentia Linda Educators, President Linda Mannion, Vice President Jeremy Kelly, what a hoot those two are, email them. Most of these people, if you just take their first initial and their last name and then their organization.org, you'll get their email, but you can find it on their website. Just go to the APLE website, look for President Linda Mannion and Vice President Jeremy Kelly. I'm calling out because I think they were both there last night, sitting right next to each other, not social distancing. Email them, let them know that you demand that they go to the table and negotiate with the district to open the schools up fully. And Dr. James Elasser and a whole bunch of other people. Tell them that you want Missy Jansen looked at. You want Susan Metcalf looked at. You want Brianna Moreno looked at, and Christina Perez looked at as threats to the school board members because they are slandering them and they are harassing them. And whatever else you think you see them fit. Oh, the BLM stuff, that needs to go too. That is just hogwash. All right. So before I lose my voice, other states have been absolutely. I mean, this is ridiculous. Again, the reason I brought up the church that I go to, Calvary Chapel Church, because it is like a microcosm of what can happen. Thousands of people unmasked, not social distancing, children going into the classrooms. None of the volunteers are masked or social distancing. The kids are sitting in circles. They're laughing. They're playing basketball. They're playing tag. They're reading books. They're passing things around. They're having a blast. Nobody's dying. Everybody's okay. It's okay. It really is okay. Believe in God. What are you so afraid of? Pray to your God. Elasser. Yeah, that guy. I hope he's good. I don't know. I don't know him. I think I've heard a couple good things about him. Hopefully he will get off, as Duff and do some stuff. And I don't know him. And I'm not going to speak ill of him because I don't know him that well. And any contract is worth breaking for the life. Yeah, break again. Just my God. So again, thank you. Amen. Yes. Oops. Sorry. Amen. Yeah. Pray to God. You get people that are so fearful. I don't know what happened to you. Americans, and Christians are commanded not to be fearful. Now, is it okay to be fearful from time to time? Absolutely. But to be so fearful in this way that affects so many lives that are just simply killing people, gosh darn it, get on your knees and pray. Elasser. I don't know what Karen's trying to tell me something. I'm obviously pronouncing it wrong. I'm horrible. I admit right now, I'm horrible with names. All right. And that's just, I'm horrible at remembering them and I'm horrible at pronouncing them. And I just go figure, I married somebody named Hedia Miramati. It took me probably a month to learn her name. You ask her. That is the truth. Let's see. I just want to look at a couple of these things before. Oh, let's look at this. Teachers were overheard at one school today saying a year of student learning isn't worth a teacher's. Oh, gosh. And that even if they are vaccinated, the families of the kids are not so. It's still not safe. When is life ever completely safe? And some of these teachers are seen at breweries and restaurants, socializing in groups together with no mask. You can have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Absolutely. Sorry, the font's very small. All right, read that better. But that's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, this is utterly ridiculous. I on social media, I'm friends with a few teachers at the local school. I'm not going to give names. I've seen teachers at Party Central or whatever you call it. I've seen them at Kelly's Corner. I've seen them at oh my gosh, Rembrandt's. You see them at all kinds of places. Indoor dining, no mask, sitting with other teachers. But they can't go to school. I mean, we can just go on. It's just ridiculous. They can say all this crap all they want, that it is so ridiculous that, it's not worth one teacher's lives. That I know teachers have died driving to school. We know teachers that have died from heart attacks. We know teachers that when I was going to high school, one of the teachers died on his way to school in a car accident. At what point, if you're going to say that you can't go to school until it's completely safe for everything, we will never go back to school. Even if there was no pandemic, people die of the flu, people die of all types of things. A teacher at one of the schools committed suicide in the classroom not too long ago. I mean, there's all kinds of this stuff going on. There's a risk factor in everything. All right. So we just need to end this now. We need to get everybody on the same page, and we need to move forward in a positive direction with the school. The school union has got to go. They have got to go. We have to either get them out of the way and ignore them. They need to come to something needs to happen. Who knows why they're even in place? They are just causing us so much grief right now that it's ridiculous. And again, to get in there yesterday and to say that we're saying that teachers are lazy, none of us have ever said that. You're only doing that to cause a separation between parents and the teachers. And the teachers that are watching don't believe it. None of us think you're lazy. The good teachers, not, again, the ones I named earlier. I won't go through the names again, like Susan Metcalf and those. I won't But the rest of them, all the rest of them are fantastic. All right, I gotta go. Wow, I did that all under an hour, barely under an hour. I'm gonna go to an hour right now. So I appreciate all of you that have watched. Please share this out if you think it's worthwhile for other people to watch, because we need more people to join us. And I know there were so many comments. You guys had great comments. I'm going to go through and look at them and see if there's anything that I need to look at as far as information that I need to know for the next show. Thank you for commenting. The commenting is what gets these things brought out. So if you're watching a replay, please also comment and put in anything that you think may be appropriate for whatever it is I'm talking about, or something you think that needs to be added. Please comment, add more comments. The comments are the things that get this pushed out so more people will see it. Make sure and get the emotions and hit the hearts and the thumbs up and those types of things, or angry faces, whatever you want, and share it out. Share, and subscribe to any of the channels that you're watching this on. I am broadcasting right now on 5 different Facebook pages. I'm broadcasting on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch all at the same time right now. So it's all out there. Whatever platform you're watching on, share it out. And that way more people will see it, that we need to join forces. The parents need to join forces. I understand there's parents that don't want their kids to go back to school. I know that. My daughter has a friend who's not left the house since this thing started, a year. And so I understand that. You can continue to stay home. All right. I'm not talking to you. You don't have to join us. If you are that afraid of the pandemic, you're that afraid because maybe you have a pre-existing condition, or grandma's at home who's 90 or 100 years old, then stay home. That is, I'm not talking about you. There's some of us who are not afraid. There's some of us who don't have pre-existing conditions. There are some of us like me who had it. My ex-wife had it. My wife has it. One of my children have had it. We've all had it. All right. We're ready to go back to school. We're all here. Nothing bad happened. All right. And so let's move on and let's move forward. Those of you that don't want to go back to school, those teachers that refuse to go back to school, stay home, find another job, go to work at a Starbucks, and then you can go to work full time. Or, there's strip clubs that are hiring that I'm sure that are open that you can go work full time there. All right, my friends, love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. All of those people that came up to me last night and said hi and say you watch, and appreciate these shows. I appreciate you for taking the time to come up. I appreciate it so much. All right, my friends, take care. We'll talk to you later. Bye.